Hello, and welcome to Star Trek Rewind, your weekly visit to the future, in the past, and today we're going to be talking about Season 1, Episode 4, The Last Outpost, stardate 41386.4. So, I guess this one's... Oh, I'm Captain Fruit.
I am Ninja Nerd.
I'm Parasenic.
And today we'll be talking about Star Trek, so... I guess the really important thing about this episode is the Ferengi are in it.
Oh, yay.
For the first time.
The first one, the big reveal.
First episode with them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Interestingly enough, the Ferengi were originally designed to be the big bad enemies in TNG, when they were later replaced by the altogether more competent and interesting Borg.
Yeah. Of which I agree with that decision.
I mean, yeah, you can really sort of see that in how they were introduced, and how they introduced the Ferengi. They're like, oh yeah, they're this species that we know very little about, and they have advanced weapons and all that stuff. And
yeah, their technology is equal to ours and all that, and then later on, you don't really see evidence of that.
No.
Yeah, no, really.
And they certainly didn't make them look very dignified. I mean, the actors that were actually playing the Ferengi, they were directed to, and I quote, jump up and down like crazed gerbils.
Wow. That's some great stage direction right there.
That's actually quite accurate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think the cast in general were unhappy with the, and I quote again, idiotic behaviour of the Ferengi. And
yeah, I feel like they could have made, if they wanted them to be the bad guys, they could have made them seem a little bit more intimidating than basically the equivalent of a goblin. Because that's basically what they are, is like space goblins.
Well, back in, I guess, medieval Europe and Scandinavia, that kind of thing was, you know, the goblins were kind of terrifying. They were these, you know, small little creatures that, you know, rearrange your house. They could take your children away.
Yeah, but I mean, but that being said, they are space people. Goblins that are merchants.
I suppose so.
That's true. And, well, I appreciate the metaphor of, oh, these are like we were back now in the 21st century, just all concerned with capitalism and greed and material interests. You're probably not doing the metaphor any favour by making them so moronic as to disqualify them as a serious adversary.
Actual, like, serious villains.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was one thing with the Ferengi I liked. It was their ship design.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
It did fit a race of kind of, you know, warring, not really warring, more of hostile species.
Yeah.
Give them an intimidating look.
Yeah, so I guess onto the actual storyline of this episode.
Sure. Oh wait, actually I have one more criticism of the Ferengi.
Yeah.
For a society that boasts having a center on trade and like trying to trade with everyone and have, you know, get as much money as possible, they're very hostile.
Yeah, I mean, you'd think, like, you think they'd just be, you know, more charismatic in general. Like,
exactly.
It seems like they were made out to be like very good schmoozers, but it just seems so disingenuous that so you would have thought they could, you know, fake actually caring about something.
No, they're just kind of like, oh, you're ugly and you probably smell bad too. And it's like, yeah, I really wanna trade with you now.
Yeah, like that's probably the first rule of trading is do not insult the person you're trying to trade with.
Yeah, that's
not the most intelligent design. Anywho, as you're saying, on to the plot.
Am I explaining the plot, or?
Alright, I can explain the plot if you wish. They meet the Ferengi, and the Ferengi are mysterious, unknown kind of creatures, and they make contact, but they're stuck. And they don't know why, and each of the races think there's the other person trying to be hostile. But as it turns out, there's actually a third party going on here.
Yeah, so basically, both of their ships mysteriously stop moving, and they have no idea why. Both blame each other, and then it turns out that there's actually the remnants of an ancient empire called the Takan Empire that had like some sort of, I guess, security system thing still in place on the planet that they're orbiting above, and they got caught up in the security system, which I guess somehow froze both of their ships using magic crystals.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then they descend down to the planet, and a group of Ferengi and a group of Enterprise people, and the Ferengi are revealed to be superstitious morons who do actually hop around like gerbils, and they're extremely greedy and aggressive and not particularly nice to get along with. And then an old computer program who's been watching over the planet since the civilization that was down there died out comes, accuses them of trespassing, and basically, makes friends with the Enterprise crew when the Enterprise crew reveal that they're enlightened and intelligent, and basically laugh as the Ferengi for the idiotic morons that they are.
I find it interesting the way they show that they're this developed species is by quoting something that's from Sun Tzu, The Art of War. When did that come up? Was that in like the 1800s something? Or not 800s?
Sun Tzu is ancient. That's about 500 BC.
It is categorized as ancient, which would be... Ancient is 2,500, but that may be wrong.
I think that's a bit too specific a number.
Yeah.
I actually don't see. Maybe, I guess people don't really know. Oh no, here it is. It is actually ancient. It's 512 BCE.
Yes.
So a very long time ago. 3,000 years in Star Trek's times, almost.
I guess if the criticism being levied is comparing the Ferengi to modern day people, sort of defeats the point. This links me on to another thing about the Star Trek universe, which I find very concerning, is that considering how enlightened they are and how they pursue things, more noble pursuits than attacking greed and creating culture, they don't actually seem to have created any culture between the present day and 400 years in the future.
Also, if they're so enlightened, how come they kept books like The Art of War around if they're supposed to hate war? Or it would be like if one of them showed up and started quoting, like, The Prince.
Yeah. I mean, it's a bit silly, that in total. Plus, you've got episodes on Sherlock Holmes, you've got episodes reciting ancient plays, going back in time to the 1900s, 20th century, 19th century, 18th century.
All they really seem to listen to is classical music. How come they, like, has there been no new media since the modern day that apparently anybody cares about, other than, like, three-dimensional chess?
I actually have to admit, three-dimensional chess is pretty interesting, actually.
But it exists today.
Well, because of Star Trek, I think.
It's
Possibly.
Obviously a fourth-dimensional Star Trek paradox.
Yeah.
Should have fourth-dimensional chess travel through tesseracts.
Mm-hmm.
If the most they can say for the past 400 years of culture is that they invented three-dimensional chess, that's not exactly entirely inspiring, is it?
Well, there's probably also lots of stuff that you can do on the holodeck, except they only ever seem to go to, like, old Earth.
Yeah.
Like, have you thought about that? Every single time that somebody goes in the holodeck for, like, their own leisure, it's either, like, in the forest, a combat simulation, or some recreation of an old novel or time period.
So, and then very, very occasionally you get something from the Klingon homeworld that involves Worf. But other than that...
It's never, like, something that would be like the viewer's future and their past. It's nothing ever occurs in that period of time.
Apart from the movie First Contact, which is literally the only thing. And even then, all of the music that's played is 20th century rock.
Or I guess the, what was it? The one where Captain Kirk goes back in time to save the whales. Which one was that called?
That's still the 20th century.
No, but it was, oh yeah, it was, never mind, yeah. Well, was it their future, like, for the people that were watching it originally?
I think it was round about the present day. I'll look up that. You guys keep talking.
Just while you're doing that, that got me thinking about maybe, I don't know, perhaps the holodeck is actually a criticism of our society and how we consume media. Like, just consume. We don't create as much anymore. Like, because of accessibility, you know, we're getting all these things to us, and now in this time, I guess it'd be CDs, you know, TV is now stream TV. You don't have to go out to see a play or a rock concert or something. Like, it just comes to you. It's kind of like, I'm wondering if that's a criticism, like suppressing creative.
Sorry. Star Trek IV: The Voyage Home, it was created in 1986, and they went back in time to 1986.
Anywho, I'd like to steer us off of this giant tangent we're taking and come back to the episode. Mm-hmm. If everyone's alright with that, of course.
No, I think we should just stay completely on a tangent and not ever actually get to talking about anything meaningful.
Well, it's Star Trek, so...
Alright, well, go on then.
Alright, where were we in our plan?
You were talking about the nature of media consumption today and how it's superficial.
Oh yeah, that. Yes, you guys have any opinions on that?
I feel like they didn't want to say anything that could possibly offend somebody today, like by talking about events that might relate to modern day issues. They wanted to avoid that by just sticking with sort of really old topics and ideas so that people couldn't relate directly to it.
You know, perhaps they're actually trying to go for a kind of pseudo-Renaissance kind of feel.
Oh, yeah, that might be it as well.
You know, the resurrection of classical ideas to help move society forward.
Yeah, that might make a lot more sense, actually.
Still, if that's what happened after the eugenics wars and World War III, then what did they do for the next 400 years other than building spaceships?
Well, you know, building spaceships is a lot of work.
Yeah, but the other 10 odd billion people who aren't A, building spaceships, or B, doing any other form of work.
I don't know. It's not like they have any sort of, like... no, I like to imagine that in the Federation, there's just this giant, like, proletariat, because there's, like, literally no need for any kind of lower class because of replicators. There's literally no need for any kind of industry. And so I imagine that there's, like, just massive slums on Earth. Because there's no way for them to, like, survive.
But anyone, the replicators allow for an infinite amount of free stuff, and then you abolish money. So you've got a society in which A, very, very few people need to work. B, no one creates any form of culture.
That would actually explain things.
And then also, like literally the only people that do anything are the people that for some reason, like, find the call of duty, I guess, and decide to work of their own volition, without any hope of reward, personally.
I mean, yeah, every character is shown to have a job, everyone that's not affiliated with Starfleet, right? You've got, especially in Deep Space Nine, Sisko's dad running a restaurant, right?
Yeah, but I mean, look, there's literally, like, if somebody even does a subpar job, right? I remember, like, later on, there's an episode where there's, like, an engineer who's, like, really shy and he doesn't, and he's, like, not doing very well. We have to think, like, seeing as how he's not being paid for this job, what can you possibly do to punish him for not doing his job properly? You can't, like, fire him. Then what? You basically just said, like, fine, don't do the work that you wanted to do but weren't required to.
That is the big
Like,
criticism of communism.
I mean, and Star Trek is obviously a utopian communist society.
Well, yeah, that's kind of the whole point.
Which kind of makes this... I mean, what year was this aired?
Yeah, the original Star Trek was made in, like, the Cold War era. And, like, the Klingons were supposed to represent, like, Soviets, basically.
Considering this episode is almost very directly utopian communism of the Federation versus the extreme capitalism of the Ferengi, and it was aired in America before the Berlin Wall came down, honestly, I'm rather surprised by that.
Wow. That's kind of surprising. Oh, that's pretty, I guess, progressive? Is that the right word for that?
I guess so. I mean...
I guess maybe, like, not... Maybe another word for it would be not culturally sensitive to the audience that they're going for.
Or maybe that's the point that they're trying to make, is that utopian communism in theory is a very good idea.
Maybe. Maybe it's like, if we're reading into this, maybe a little bit too much, we could say that it's similar to how, to like Orwellian communism and ideas in like 1984, where like George Orwell was actually a communist, and yet he, in stuff like 1984 and Animal Farm, he's constantly critiquing the Soviet Union and saying that it basically isn't true communism. And I feel like it's probably a similar ideas to that.
I thought it was a socialist versus the fascists.
Was Orwell a full-out communist? I thought he was just a socialist.
Yes, he was. He even fought in the
Spanish Civil War.
Spanish Civil War, yeah, for the communists against the nationalists. No, I mean, like you're comparing a social ideology to an economic one, which go sort of hand in hand, most of the time, at least.
Okay, back to the episode.
Anyway.
Yeah, I've got this list of things that we should be going. So we've trivia. We've done a lot of that. Metaphors and themes.
We are just went on a huge tangent that actually kind of relates. Oh, just interesting point. I found it slightly funny when Data was like listing languages, like I've some unknown language called French, and then Picard took immediate offense to that.
Yeah.
Even best that he's got a British accent.
That's like how... Yeah. Like, you have thought they could have either found a French actor or asked him to just do a French accent. Which I'm pretty sure he probably could have done if he needed to. Seeing as how apparently his entire family, not only is he supposedly French, and it's like, his ancestry, but his family lives in France, actively, currently.
I've got a feeling that in the Star Trek chronology, I'm pretty sure France was basically obliterated during the wars in the 21st century.
Yeah, I was about to say France was probably annexed by Great Britain.
But actually, this brings up another point of, well, firstly, if that happened, then why was he so defensive of French? But anyway, even if that's true, why does everybody speak English on this ship? Every single person. Like, there's no other languages represented.
Well, they could be
Everybody
speaking all
speaks
sorts
English.
of languages, since it's just their communicators translating, right?
That's what they do with aliens, I
I
think.
guess, but I mean, well, I guess it's kind of like similar to Doctor Who, where I always imagine that, like, from the Doctor's perspective, every single person is speaking like ancient Time Lord. Everyone, which is pretty.
It's kind of
funny.
like Babel fishes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't Babel fish the plural
sure.
of Babel fish?
Babel fish eye. I don't know.
We need to look it up.
Looking at France on Memory Alpha, it looks like no, it didn't get destroyed. It was just became English accent over time.
Huh. So a cultural annexation then.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
But not... Wait, so the French, I get this straight, the French didn't... learn to speak English. They just spoke English with an English accent.
With an English accent.
They still spoke French,
Huh.
but they decided to change the accent they spoke English with. Well, that's interesting. Anyway, so
Yeah.
where were we again?
Yeah, okay, so next thing on the list, characters.
Characters, right. So, new characters in this. There's
Frankie.
the Ferengi dude.
Damon, whatever his face was. They're all Damons. Well, not all of them are Damons, just the high-ranked ones that have lines, pretty much, are all Damons. Damon Bach is the only one I can actually remember by name. Damon Tar.
Yeah, it is actually Damon Tar. Is his name. Yeah, that's good memory.
Yeah, he wasn't the most respectable of
Uh,
people, but then again, most Ferengi aren't.
yeah, seems... Oh, I mean, I guess it's kind of a generalization, but I can't really think of any Ferengi that were genuinely good people.
Quark is... I mean, pretty much all of them from Deep Space Nine had at least some redeeming qualities.
Yeah,
I never
that's-
actually made it past the first season of Deep Space Nine, so I really can't give you much to attest to.
Ooh, ouch.
What was the name of the security system?
Oh, it was like a Portal 63 or something?
Yeah, it was Portal, that was it. No, it was just literally called Portal. Yeah,
Portal.
what a creative name, eh?
Yeah.
Valve should sue them.
Well, actually, Star Trek could sue Valve because Star Trek came 30 years-ish before Portal.
I guess.
Also, I doubt that the name Portal is actually trademarked by anyone. Well, I mean, as a video game, it's probably...
Probably. I don't think you can just trademark the word portal.
There are very few words that are actually trademarked. Interesting enough, just a really slight tangent here, superhero is actually joint trademarked by Marvel and DC.
Not surprised.
So, unless you get permission from them, you can't legally use it in your work of art.
Wow, that's really stupid. Also, I'm pretty sure that the Deccan Empire probably would have trademarked the name Portal.
Yeah. Right, so continuity is next. 1 point here. Data uses a couple of contractions again, I noticed.
Like, you would have thought that even, like, the episode with, Data Lore, that's an episode in the first season. So why didn't, where they, like, make that distinction between him and Lore, so why didn't they use that same rule when they were, writing the scripts for these early episodes?
Yeah.
It's not like they didn't know that that was going to be a thing later on.
I really don't know.
And then... Oh, there's the whole thing with the Chinese finger traps, right?
Oh yeah, that was a really interesting parallel, actually, because Data was toying with that in the, ready room, and then
Yeah.
Riker at the end was like, oh, yeah, we should give them a box of Chinese finger traps.
Do you know what that whole storyline reminded me a bit of, with the beaming it onto their ship at the end?
What?
Oh, Trouble with Tribbles.
Trouble with Tribbles.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was a good episode.
It's like the most, like, one of the best episodes from the original series, honestly.
Oh yeah.
It was really
I have a
good.
stuffed Trouble somewhere. I don't see it right now.
Also, I refuse to believe that Data could not have broken that Chinese finger trap if he wanted to. If he legitimately thought that his fingers were trapped, he could easily break it.
Well, 24th century Chinese finger traps. You don't know what that stuff's made of.
Yeah, especially highly advanced alloys that are interwoven to create an advanced polymer of woven high-tech strings of doom.
Yes, but that being said, Data can, like, bend metal bars of prisons.
Fair enough.
And so I think that he could probably break a Chinese finger trap.
Might be a bit of points off on continuity there.
Maybe.
Good. Right.
Or, well, I guess it's possible that he just didn't want to break it because he thought it was valuable for some reason.
Oh, and I guess he'd also be embarrassed.
Possibly. Even though he doesn't have emotions and can't actually feel embarrassment.
Well, he gets emotions later on, but sorry, spoiler alert.
Not yet, though. Well, it isn't really spoilers because he is constantly saying throughout the entire series how he wants emotions.
That is true.
Well, actually, he does kind of get emotions, like, in little chunks as the series goes on. There was that one time when Q let him laugh as a reward.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a very, nice moment for Q.
Oh, there was the one with his
which
daughter.
Which he doesn't have a lot of. Oh, the daughter was, the saddest episode ever made. It was so good.
I think Brent Spiner did a fantastic job on that episode, somehow conveying huge amounts of emotion without actually displaying any.
Oh, man, yeah.
Yeah, we need to wait until season 3 to do that episode. Oh, no.
Oh, God.
That episode was so good. Anyway, back to this episode.
Yeah, the next thing is technology. So
quite a lot of technology with crystal trees that freeze ship systems.
And energy whips, because that's such a effective
means
weapon
for fighting.
And
also, wait a minute. I like how just going back to that, the fight scene between the Enterprise people and the Ferengi is ridiculous. Because you know how the Ferengi, they use their lightning whips, right? And they shock them all and stuff, and they fight. And then Natasha Yar comes out with her phaser and is like, "Don't move or I'll shoot you." And then they all suddenly stop. And then Riker pulls out his phaser and points it at them. You're like, you had a phaser the entire time? And you just didn't use it? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, the writing in these initial episodes wasn't exactly the greatest.
Yeah.
Alright,
Anyway.
continue on.
Yeah,
Also,
sorry?
Yeah. No, go on.
Well, any more technology things that need to be brought up?
Other than the obviously intricate Chinese finger traps, nothing that I can think of, really. It's crystal trees, energy whips, I guess Portal itself, kind of.
Yeah,
True.
that would be interesting. I guess it's kind of like a holodeck outside of a holodeck.
Yeah, sort of. Well, they keep on breaking the holodeck rules. Like the one time Moriarty leaves the holodeck, or in the first episode when Wesley falls into the water and then he leaves the holodeck and he's still wet, even though it was holographic water.
And then there's next time that the holodeck's introduced and they're in that 1920s detective novel, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, the characters walk outside and it's a full 10-20 seconds before they actually start to slowly vanish.
Yeah. Which is strange.
Yeah. So that's cool. Then just last thing is just general thoughts.
Pretty much said everything I want to say.
Yeah. They sort of I feel like they continued with the theme of being really sexist towards Yar in general. Which, I mean, maybe they were just trying to make the Ferengi seem like jerks, but I don't know. It just kind of seems like they're beating a dead horse at this point.
To be fair, the sexist part of the Ferengi psyche was upheld every other time they're shown. So it wasn't really something that was pulled out exclusively for this episode, but still, I agree.
It seems like they keep on returning to that theme with their villains, that they're all really, really sexist.
Well, again, this is supposed to be a utopian society when there's no discrimination, and they just gotta provide a contrast there, really.
I don't know.
Still,
I guess.
Her entire role in these episodes seems to be, firstly, get insulted and discriminated against by every person they meet, and secondly, be the one to pull out the gun and take control of the situation. And I appreciate what they're trying to do here, but, if they could have made the character, I don't know, even two-dimensional, would have been good.
Yeah, as opposed to a one-dimensional line of doing the same thing over and over and over again.
That is probably why the actor left the show. Her name eludes me again.
Gosh.
Denise something. Apologies for that.
Sorry, what?
I can't remember the name of the actor who played Tasha Yar.
Denise Crosby.
Denise Crosby.
Yeah. Still not a brilliantly developed character, even especially by this point, but even by the time that she was killed off.
Spoilers.
Cool. So this is the point where we get to move on to our completely arbitrary rating system.
Woo.
Okay, first, these are all scores out of 10. Political themes.
We had a very long discussion of political themes, so I'd give it a 6, actually.
6.
6? Yeah, I'd be okay with 6, yeah. Maybe 6 or 7, would you say?
I'd give it a 7, to be honest.
Alright, 7, sure.
I mean, it did tend to hit you over the head as if with a blunt stick, but still, it was not the worst metaphor they could make. Acting.
Alright, I will give the Ferengi the praise that they did a very good job of jumping around like gerbils.
Yeah, they were very gerbil-like.
That's true. 7?
Yeah.
Maybe not a 7.
Technobabble.
Wait, but did we get a score for the acting?
I put down a 7, but if someone thinks
I think it's a 6.
That's a bit generous.
I think that 7 might be a bit generous. Let's say maybe 6. Yeah, let's go with 6.
Okay, let's go with 6.
Keep in mind, if you're watching this, these are all completely arbitrary numbers. They have no relation to one another.
Yeah. Technobabble.
There was a lot of technobabble around Portal and the random crystals in the ground.
7?
Sure, let's go with 7.
Yeah.
This probably going to be our highest scoring episode thus far.
Yeah. This is our highest scoring episode thus far.
Already. Even after the first one, we already beat last episode.
Plot.
Okay, the plot's out. Give it a 4.
4?
4.
Just for the inclusion of Sun Tzu's Art of War?
Yeah.
Awesomeness.
5.
4. 5.
Yes. I go with 4.
4.
Alright, I'm voted. It's 4.
Bringing us to a very respectable total of 28.
Out of 50. That's not bad.
What does that equate to in terms of ships?
That is... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1... Defiant class.
Ooh, the Defiant class.
Shiny.
Yeah. So,
Definitely,
28...
Definitely better than a shuttlecraft.
Yep. 56% score. And bear in mind, guys, people watching, these scores, I mean, we've got a massive range so far, right? And they're probably going to be a lot lower than you're probably going to be used to for most forms of media. But, yeah.
But, I mean, let's just assume that, all 5s is the average episode.
Yeah. So, 25 out of 50.
So it's 3 above average. Good job, episode.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, I don't really like rating systems where essentially the only score you can get is between 70 and 100.
Yeah, basically.
Right.
And then anything below that means that it's awful.
I completely agree.
You should have 0 as awful, and then 1 to 100 as moderations of... What did last episode get?
Oh, it's like a
2?
It was like a 7 or something like that. I forget.
Anyway, what we should actually, that's a good reason. Everybody watching this, only use Kelvin from now on. Never use Celsius or Fahrenheit.
Unlike Star Trek, where there was something where it's minus 300 odd degrees, which implies they use Kelvin. Or, I mean, implies they use Fahrenheit in the 24th
The
century.
Philistines.
Well, they could have been in Celsius, but
Wait.
actually,
Minus
no,
300
that's a
degrees
lie. They could not
Celsius.
possibly be in Celsius, because Celsius only goes
Yeah.
to 284.
273.
Close enough.
Negative.
Yeah, 73. Yeah, so, I mean, yes, minus 300 Fahrenheit is minus 184.4 Celsius. So, still pretty cold. Which I guess is kind of an understatement. But
You know,
little bit.
kind of die.
anyway, been rambling for a bit about temperature for some reason. Anyway, so should we wrap up then?
Yeah.
Episode?
At 28 out of 50, this was clearly above average, but not really brilliant.
It was good,
Yes.
but it wasn't bad. I know it wasn't good, but it wasn't bad, is what I meant to say.
Yeah, it wasn't the best episode. Some of the best episodes of this series, which are yet to come, like The Offspring, and
Data's
a
Day.
later 2-part episode, which I'm pretty
And
sure you all know.
The
what
Inner
it is.
Light.
Yeah.
You know, like, Best of Both Worlds?
Ooh, yeah, that's the last episode, though.
No.
Oh, wait,
that's-
I'm mixing them up, my bad.
And then Darmok, Chain of Command, Descent,
The best-
Iborg.
I just have to say the Best of Both Worlds is probably the best episode in the
I
entire series.
I like
think
Data's Day.
it's probably the most
It-
iconic.
It may be one of the best episodes of Star Trek, period.
It may be one of the best episodes of any form of television ever made.
Yeah. It may even be the best form of story ever told in the history of humanity.
That is quite the
That's it.
praise.
Yeah, take that, George Lucas.
Yeah, and the Odyssey. Gosh, Homer. Learn how to write.
Yeah.
Come on,
Who cares
J.R.
about your,
Tolkien.
like,
Make better worlds.
dactylic hexameter and the fact that must have taken you forever to write.
And don't even get
Doesn't
me
matter.
started on William Shakespeare.
Oh, come on, man.
Gosh.
Those words, he made up half those words. Come on.
Yeah.
If you were to give, the entire world a vote, or what do you think most people would say is the best piece of story of any medium of all time?
Harry Potter.
Yeah,
Fair
most
enough.
people would say Harry Potter. Yeah.
Hitchhiker's
In
Guide
all
to the
honesty,
Galaxy? Probably Harry
that's
Potter.
what they should say, but they would say Harry Potter.
I think you probably get a significant Lord of the Rings bias
Probably.
as well.
It depends on where you ask, I think.
True.
Because, I mean, you could just ask, like, the, 40% of the population that is either from India or China, and they will likely say, I don't know what they like, but
That's
probably
actually
not,
fair enough.
probably not Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter.
Very good point.
Yeah. I mean, if you look up list of best-selling books of all time, and obviously this is a fairly limited medium, but more than 100 million of copies, you have A Tale of Two Cities, The
Sorry.
Lord of the Rings, even if you consider the entire series as one book, it's still 150 million. The Little Prince, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, and then there were
Philosopher's
none by
Stone, not
Agatha
Sorcerer's
Christie.
Stone. It's
Yeah,
a Philosopher's Stone, not Sorcerer's Stone for American viewers.
Yeah.
I prefer
the
Philosopher's Stone. It makes more sense to me.
The
Yeah,
Chinese
because the
dream-
Philosopher's Stone is actually a thing, not as opposed to the Sorcerer's Stone, which is just something that was completely made up.
Yeah.
Well, what was that? I don't know, oh no, I can't remember if exactly. Did they also have the Elixir of Life, or was the Philosopher's Stone and the Elixir of Life mixed together in this case?
I have no idea. Depends on the source. Anyway, what was the next one?
Dream of the Red Chamber, which is Chinese. The Hobbit, and She, A History of Adventure. So, out of the 8 books that have sold more than 100 million copies, Tolkien's on there twice, and 6 of the 8 are in English.
Huh. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Who collected this? It could be kind of biased. Because maybe there's also books that we don't have publishing records for.
Oh yeah, that would make sense.
And there's also online media too.
Considering A Tale of Two Cities is the best-selling book of all time.
I don't know, wouldn't the Bible be the best-selling book of all time, or the Quran or something?
That's actually fair enough.
Yeah, the Bible still counts as a book, right?
Though any individual version of the Bible, because it was...
But, I mean, it's all still the same book.
Not necessarily. You could have the Old Testament and the New Testament. We're getting huge tangents here.
Okay, anyway, list of best-selling book series. Number 1, guess what?
Lord of the Rings.
Harry Potter.
Woo!
Yeah. 2 is Goosebumps. 3 is Perry Mason. 4 is Berenstain Bears.
Berenstain Bears.
5 is Choose Your Own Adventure.
Oh, I like this.
That isn't a book series.
6
that's a genre of book. That would be like if they put like science fiction as a book series.
6 is Sweet Valley High. 7 is Noddy by Enid Blyton. Next is Nancy Drew. The Railway series, from which came Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends. A bit later down the list, you've got Star Wars, Peter Rabbit, Chronicles of Narnia.
But Star Wars isn't a series of books. Like, unless you're talking about the expanded universe stuff, in which case there's like 5 billion different books.
Number of installments over 300.
Yeah.
I would have guessed 512, but close enough.
It's a very specific number.
Mr. Men.
Wait a minute. So Nancy Drew was on there, but the Hardy Boys weren't?
Yeah.
That's strange. Because they're basically the same book.
Nancy Drew's up at 200 million copies.
That's quite a lot.
James Bond only sold 100 million.
Gosh, James Bond. Learn to sell books more.
Yeah. Where exactly is the Hardy Boys? 50 million. So 1/4 as successful as Nancy Drew.
Wow, that's strange. Huh.
Yeah. At 26 million, you've got Captain Underpants.
Wow. That is astounding.
Compared to 24 million for A Song of Ice and Fire. Oh, that's brilliant.
Okay, my English teacher really likes to read those books. I'm just going to tell her that fact. That Captain Underpants has sold 2 million more copies than A Song of Ice and Fire.
Yeah. Oh, The Foundation by Isaac Asimov barely clocks in at 20 million.
Where's his Dark Materials?
That's 15 million.
15, okay. That sounds reasonable. H2G2?
Behind the Divergent trilogy.
Behind it, oh god.
Okay, the Divergent trilogy is so stupid. They're all awful. All of those, like, really, really bad post-apocalyptic movies that are that completely missed the point of that entire genre. Like the Hunger Games. Because Divergent is basically the Hunger Games. It's like a direct copy. And the Hunger Games was a direct copy of
Battle Royale.
Yeah, Battle Royale.
Yeah, I mean, Hitchhiker's Guide makes it in at 16 million. Percy Jackson and the Olympians makes 15 million. Guinness World Records 115 million.
Well, that counts as a book series.
It's in a section called List of Best-Selling Regularly Updated Books.
Ah.
Well, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
Would dictionaries be in there as well?
Yes, they are.
I guess Merriam-Webster Dictionary probably is sold a lot.
Sherlock Holmes doesn't even make the list.
I find that surprising.
That's surprising. Although I'd imagine that like a lot of the old English books and stories were published as articles, right?
That's true.
Like Oliver Twist was published like per word, which is why it's so long, needlessly. He was literally he'd write in a journal, I think, and he'd submit it, and he got like paid a certain amount of money for each word that he put in. So everything is so like verbose for no reason other than to like basically give him more money.
That's fair enough.
Yeah, they used to have it in they put it in the papers, and like people would go and buy it, and maybe one person, a group of friends, could read, and then you go to the pub and I don't know, read the story of the day. Maybe. I think that's what happened.
It was like, but before they had comics, they had Oliver Twist.
Yes. Sorry, guys, I've got to head off now. Yeah.
All right. See ya.
But
see you guys.
I'd just like to say that June clocks in at a very respectable 12 million.
Oh, Dune? Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I mean, Dune's like the best science fiction book ever written, so.
Ooh. The gauntlet has been thrown. Yeah. Only a little bit behind Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, also one of the greats in science fiction.
To be fair, close enough. But, right, bye. See you next week, if not
Bye,
sooner.
guys. See ya.